the actor Robert Pattinson.
Sorry, I look like an intro person, but I'm sort of bronchitis, and it's not easy. It's sunny and warm.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to start by just asking, I've read that you've said that this movie is not science fiction to you. Is that true, or is it, can you explain that?
Now that the question is repeated many times, asked me many times, I realized it became like a sort of motto, but I think it's not. What I wanted to say is I didn't want people to expect too much of what it is, science fiction in many films today, with a lot of incredible special digital effects. And I thought it was a film about few people with no alien, no fight, and in space. You know?
I was there, and I wasn't disappointed at all. So, but I know that this idea for this movie came to you. You've been working on it for some time. I'm sure there were many reasons, but why did it take so long to come together?
First of all, the proposal was made to me by an English producer to do a film in English, and it took me a little time to accept, because I wanted to do it in English for a reason I could understand. For instance, being in space, meaning to me speaking American or Russian, So, and this producer, Oliver Dungy, also mentioned, "Oh, Claire, I would like you so much to do a film about a femme fatale." And it's far from me, this sort of thing. So I thought, well, in space, a femme fatale could be a little Willow, in a way, And it started like that, but then it was a slow departure, and then in French, and then written in French, and we had to translate it, and then a casting, but then the budget was there 6 months, and then suddenly it was not there anymore. And it's, as you have seen the credits, it's so many co-producers, So it took so long time, And I have to say, Robert was very patient with us.
Robert, I don't expect you to remember this at all, but we did a really quick interview before you were about to go shoot High Life in Poland, and you were telling me about just the
Germany? You were not in Poland?
No, in Cologne, yeah.
In Poland.
I wasn't in Poland.
Oh, sorry, I may be misremembering.
Yeah.
But you were talking about just all the great directors you've worked with, and Claire being one of them, and just and your love for working your way through your DVD shelf. Was she? I take it she was on that shelf already, and so you were familiar with her work.
She was a late arrival to it. I mean, I only really discovered Claire's work when I was about 25, I think. But yeah, it was an immediate, I think it was 24, 25, and then she was an immediate priority target. Hunted.
Was okay for me,
What was it like meeting for the first time and deciding that Robert was Monte?
I have a great memory of the first time we met in LA in a hotel, and it was I remember you were wearing a sort of white t-shirt. I mean, you were whitish, I mean, pale, and I was also very tired from the flight, and I thought it's the energy to meeting someone was not really in me, and I thought it was a little bit also at a distance. And with Robert, I met someone exactly the opposite, younger and not hopeless, but who had no life almost.
You're right, I just think it's correct. Yeah.
For Monte?
Yeah.
No, you have.
This is what I feel when I look at the film.
No. I mean, who had no life in the Monte's character in the vessel, not Robert. As opposed to him, I had no life, yeah.
While we're talking about casting, there's so many great performances in this movie by Juliette Binoche and André Benjamin in particular. Talk about just, I know you choose your actors very carefully, just casting them and working with them. And I know you worked with Juliette, of course, on Let the Sun Shine In already, so.
Juliette was a sort of incident on, we did cast, I had met here in LA too, Patricia Arquette, and I thought I would have liked her to be the doctor, and she accepted, but because of the delay, she could not hold in time with us. And Juliette, I was in Cannes with Juliette for the other film, and she said, she told me, because I was moody, and I said, if it's like that, I'm not going to shoot. And I know it was totally unfair because you had been waiting, but I was in a bad mood, and she said, come on, don't make such a fuss about it. I will do it. I'm ready to do it. And it was very, very nice.
It's no way. I remember a different story. I remember in Cannes. This is one of the things I really was quite excited about shooting the movie. When we were in Cannes, and Patricia, we just found out Patricia's dates couldn't work, and no, it was a little bit afterwards, and I was thinking, we kind of tried to find a replacement, and nothing was working. And Claire was just sitting in my room, and I was like, have you found anyone yet? And she's like, well, maybe we will, maybe we won't, but if not, we'll just do it with you and the baby. I was like, really?
I was thrilled. And you know what, this is true, I had forgotten.
I'll be so down to do that.
No, but the thing was that I immediately called all the producers, saying, this is it. And they freaked out, you know? Because they thought, what is this new thing? Now she's going to make it, you know, they were terrified. No, me, I would have loved.
Yeah, great.
And Jessie.
Yeah, of course.
Robert, what is it? I know it's the effect of Claire's films is so remarkable, unique. But what is her method like? What is the process like to the degree that it can even be expressed? Not method in the sense of method act, but just the and especially something like this where the movie is about an experiment. It's about this and this enclosed experiment. And what was that like?
I think to steal your answer from yesterday, well, if I can remember it properly, but I think she definitely, I think one of the things which I think are the most important about the director and which really work for a group of actors anyway, is just being able to really make everyone, that sounds pretty basic, but it's really difficult to do, but being able to make everyone just feel that they're very much part of the same journey. And it's an interpersonal skill just as well as there's a director, the skill of the director, but it's actually like you have it's just something about your personality that's very pervasive into the room, and I think there's the tone of the movie. That's your personality, and so you could feel it was. It's not like I was surprised when I saw the movie afterwards. It felt like that in person, and I don't know what that is. It's just it's a unique ability, but there's no other filmmaker who makes movies like Claire, and that's kind of you've got an aura.
I'm sure.
And I wanted to ask about the set and the design of the ship, which is so wonderful, and just the way it looks like a prison from the outside. It also looks like a box, and just how it is so not the very kind of sterile, slick kind of environment that we would expect necessarily from this genre or whatnot. So yeah, just the realism of the environment. Yeah.
Robert explained very well what you felt when you visit the European Space Center. I can speak no, because you do it very well.
God, don't set me up like that. I have no idea. No, I mean, there's this. I like the kind of. If you go, I think when you watch a sci-fi movie, the spaceships always seem. There seems to be incredibly advanced technology, and it kind of goes into the aesthetic as well. But even when you see the International Space Station, it's so rudimentary, it's so functional that it just looks like a fishing trawler or something inside. I mean, even the kind of what do you call it, the dials and stuff.
Yeah, and the way it's all covered with materials.
Yeah.
They
sleep in sleeping bags. Like there's nothing particularly. Considering that is the highest level of technology, it looks like a pickup truck.
Wanted to ask, if I may, about the fuck box. What was I guess just as that scene is so mesmerizing, and just what was it like shooting that when with Juliette and just conceptualizing that scene in that location or that installation.
I don't know. There was things like that were in the script important, like the garden, like the shape, the corridor, the ladder, the locker rooms, things like that. I had in mind. It was very important, and I thought I needed the idea that they could, because they were so close together, living together, there should be a place where they could either dream or masturbate, but alone, with a closed door, not to be watched by all the other. And that's how it starts, that box. And I think Juliette, Juliette, she really fell for it. She was, that day, because we were only three, Yorick and me, the sound was exterior, and we had the playback of the music. Juliette never wanted to stop, she was like, she was like so strong. I was amazed, No, and she is so beautiful in that scene. But she's like a giant in the mythology, She's almost no more human, apart from the scar.
I think we have time for a few questions. Yeah, just one, two questions. All right. Sure, right. Sorry. Oh, sure. Why not?
I wanted to thank you for your chocolate because it's resonated with a lot of us for so many years. My question is how your conversation with Oliver went, and a collaboration with an artist this time, or not another director, and how that changed the film.
You mean an artist like Olafur? It was an idea of this Oliver Danger, the English producer who asked me if I wanted to do. One day we were speaking about the light and the space, and he mentioned we should go and visit Olafur in Denmark. And then Olafur was very interested, he is very interested in the black hole at that time. And he was also interested to meet Aurélien Barraud, the astrophysician I was working with. So we end up all in Berlin in his studio. And I realized that the shape of the black hole Olafur wanted to propose us was maybe too elaborate for me, and I don't know how I could have used those beautiful shapes. And I knew the famous yellow light, and I told him, this light, this is it for me, this is nothing else. Because I have read that in the end, when you reach the end, the singularity and the black hole, there is nothing but everything ends, you know? Not death, but a sort of eternity moment, you know? So I thought it was the best way to do it without a lot of special effect, with you in it, not against green scene, you know? In that yellow light, actually, you were in that yellow light. And this yellow light I like because it's a light that contains sodium and chrome, and it discolors the skin, so it transforms all the colors. And I thought it's great to go into a place where the colors are changed. It's magic in a way, you know? And that's how we did it.
Time for one more.
Yeah, this question's for Rob. Was there a particular film that you saw by Claire that influenced you and made you want to work with her? And if so, like, was there something about the way you thought she might work with you that influenced that?
I mean, the first one I saw was Web Material, and I'm always attracted to directors which, if they make a movie which seems very self-contained, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, I felt like that world was very, very fully realized, and it felt like you could turn the camera in any direction and it would still exist. It didn't just feel like it was just existing. It just, the only thing that existed were the scenes. I think that makes performances a lot better as well. But then I think probably Beau Travail I hadn't done really anything which was very kind of sensual, and I wanted to do, like, I loved that movie so much, and even like, on the page when I saw Highlife, it didn't really seem like, I mean, I guess there are a lot of things about bodies and stuff, but quite, it was pretty open to interpretation. But I mean, I wanted to do something which was, if the director's looking for you to be able to use your body, then you'll probably be able to get something with that into it. So probably push it.
I think that's all we have time for, but congratulations on the film, and thank you both for being here.